There's a word, a single word, that has the power to change everything for you. It's not a magic spell or a quick fix, but it has the potential to completely shift the way you experience life. This word is often misunderstood, overlooked, and ignored because we tend to think it's too simple to make a real difference. Yet, if you take just a moment to truly embrace this word and understand its meaning, it can open doors you never even realized were there. In life, we often think that in order to achieve success or find happiness, we need to work harder, push more, and control everything around us. We are taught to be tough, to force things into place. We believe that if we try hard enough, everything will just fall into place. But the truth is, this only leads to frustration, burnout, and a never-ending cycle of stress. What if I told you that the key to unlocking a better, more peaceful life isn't about pushing harder, but about letting go? You might be thinking, letting go? That's too passive. That's not going to get me anywhere. But here's the thing. The real power is in letting go, not in trying to control every detail. Miracles don't come from control. They come from surrender. And the first step toward that is understanding the power of this one word. Now, I know this may sound too simple to be true. How could a single word change everything? But let me explain. This word is not just about saying it. It's about feeling it, living it, and making it a part of your daily life. It's not something you say once and forget about. It's a way of being. And once you grasp its meaning, you'll see how it can transform your reality. The word we're talking about is trust. By the end of this video, I want you to walk away with a new sense of peace and clarity. You'll have an understanding of how trust works in your life, how it can ease your stress, and how it can help you let go of the need to control every aspect of your journey. You'll see that trust is not something that just happens to you. It's something you can actively cultivate and use to unlock the next level of your life. If you've ever felt stuck, stressed, or overwhelmed by trying to force things to work out, this video is for you. If you've ever wondered why things don't seem to go according to plan no matter how hard you try, you'll understand why that happens and how you can shift your approach. You'll begin to understand that you don't have to have everything figured out. You don't need to have all the answers right now. What you need is to trust that life is already unfolding in the way it's meant to. You'll learn how to feel lighter, how to trust the process even when you don't know exactly where it's leading you. You'll find out how surrendering control is not giving up, but finding peace in the unknown. The idea is not to sit back and do nothing, but to move forward with faith and trust that everything will fall into place when it's meant to. And when you begin to trust in the process, you'll experience more joy, more ease, and more grace in your life. Throughout this video, I'll guide you through how to make trust a daily practice and how to use it as a tool for navigating the uncertainties of life. Whether you're facing challenges in your career, your relationships, or your personal growth, trust will help you embrace what's coming next without fear. It's the secret ingredient to letting go of stress and stepping into the flow of life. What happens when you keep holding on tightly to everything around you? What happens when you try to control every little detail of your life? The simple answer is that you block the very things you want to manifest. When you try too hard to make things happen your way, you end up creating resistance. You push against the natural flow of life, and in doing so, you end up feeling stuck, frustrated, and drained. The more you grip, the more things slip away. This is the paradox of control. You think that if you just hold on a little tighter, you can make things happen the way you want them to. But the tighter you hold on, the more you push away the things that are meant for you. The flow of life can't reach you because you're too busy trying to manage every aspect of it. Life is constantly moving, evolving, and shifting, but when you're so focused on control, you can't see or feel that movement. You're too busy trying to plan every step, analyze every detail, and control every outcome. When you finally let go, when you release your grip and surrender the need to control, you make space for life to flow through you. And this is where the magic happens. Miracles don't happen because you force them. They happen when you create the space for them to show up. When you trust, you open the door for possibilities that you can't even imagine right now. It's not about knowing how everything will unfold. It's about trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Think about it this way. When you're gripping tightly onto a rope, it becomes hard to move. You're stuck, held back by your own tension. But when you relax your grip, the rope becomes easier to handle and you can move with it. Life works the same way. The more you try to control, the harder it gets. The more you let go, the easier it becomes. This doesn't mean that you stop taking action or that you stop caring about your goals. It simply means that you stop obsessing over the outcome. You trust that whatever happens, you are on the right path. You trust that everything will fall into place when it's meant to. And most importantly, you trust that you are exactly where you need to be right now. When you trust, you release the need to know every single step. You give yourself the freedom to move forward without fear. You stop second-guessing every decision and instead trust the wisdom of your own heart. It's a powerful shift that takes the pressure off, allowing you to breathe and relax into the flow of life. And when you do that, you'll be amazed at how much lighter and freer you feel. So, what's at stake if you don't let go? You risk staying stuck in a cycle of fear, resistance, and frustration. You risk missing out on opportunities and experiences because you're too focused on controlling the process. You risk living a life that feels heavy and burdensome. But when you embrace trust, you let go of that weight. You allow yourself to move forward with ease, knowing that the universe is always working on your behalf. Trust is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the key that unlocks the door to a life of peace, joy, and fulfillment. And the best part is that it's always available to you. You don't have to wait for anything external to change. All you have to do is choose to trust. It's that simple. In the next sections, we'll dive deeper into how to apply trust in your daily life and how to shift from control to surrender. It's time to let go and step into the flow of life. Trust is the key to living a life that's more aligned with your true purpose. Are you ready to make that shift? The journey begins with this one word: trust. Trust is the word, not because it sounds nice, not because it is popular, but because it is the doorway to peace. Trust is the difference between living with tight shoulders and a busy mind and living with a calm heart that can breathe. Trust is the quiet choice that says, I may not know how this will work out, but I believe it can. It is not blind hope. It is not pretending everything is perfect. It is a simple inner decision to stop fighting life and start moving with it. Trust is not the same as doing nothing. Trust is not sitting still and waiting while life passes by. Trust is not ignoring problems or refusing to make choices. Trust is not saying, nothing matters or I don't care. Trust is actually the opposite. Trust means you care deeply, but you stop squeezing life until it feels like it cannot move. Trust means you take the next step you can take, and then you release the need to control what happens after that. So many people hear the word trust and think it means you must feel confident all the time. But trust is not confidence that you will get exactly what you want. Trust is confidence that you will be okay even if things happen in a different way than you planned. Trust is the inner belief that life is not here to ruin you. It is here to teach you, guide you, shape you, and bring you home to yourself. That does not mean life will always feel easy. It means even when life feels hard, it can still be meaningful. Trust is also deeply spiritual because it is about surrendering the need to be the one who controls every detail. It is admitting there is something bigger than my fear. It is allowing a higher wisdom to work in your life even when your mind cannot explain it. This is the part nobody talks about. People talk about goals, effort, and discipline. They talk about planning and pushing through. But trust is the hidden power underneath everything. Without trust, even your best plans can feel heavy. Without trust, even success can feel stressful because you're always afraid it could be taken away. And here is what makes this word so powerful. Trust does not depend on perfect conditions. You don't have to wait until everything is solved. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You can choose trust in the middle of uncertainty. You can choose trust while you are still healing. You can choose trust while you are still figuring things out. Trust is not a reward at the end of the road. Trust is the strength that helps you walk the road. If you want something simple to hold on to, let it be this. Trust is open hands. Control is clenched fists. When your fists are clenched, you cannot receive, you cannot feel, you cannot flow. But when your hands are open, you can breathe, you can adjust, you can be guided. Trust is the inner opening that lets life reach you. And once you truly understand that, you start to see why trust is not a small word at all. It is not soft in a weak way. It is soft in a strong way. It is softness that can hold steady in the storm. It is peace that does not break when life changes. Trust is the foundation for a spiritual life that feels real, not forced. If trust is so powerful, why does it feel so hard? Why do people struggle with it so much? Because trust asks you to loosen your grip, and the mind does not like that. The mind wants safety, and it often believes safety comes from control. The mind tries to protect you by planning everything, checking everything, and predicting every outcome. It says, if I can just think enough, I can prevent pain. But that is not how life works. Life is not something you can fully predict, so the mind keeps trying and trying and trying, and that constant effort becomes anxiety. Trust also feels hard because many people learned early in life that trusting can lead to disappointment. Maybe something promised did not happen. Maybe someone was not there when they should have been. Maybe you tried your best and still lost something. Maybe you opened your heart and got hurt. And when that happens, you may start to believe that trust is dangerous. You may start to believe that if you loosen your grip, things will fall apart. But here is the truth. You are not wrong for feeling that way. It makes sense. The need to control often comes from a deep desire to feel safe. It comes from wanting to protect your heart. It comes from wanting to avoid another painful surprise. Control can feel like armor. It can feel like a shield. The problem is, armor is heavy. When you wear it every day, you get tired. When you hold your breath all the time, you forget how to relax. When you try to control everything, you stop trusting yourself. You stop trusting life. You start living in a constant what if. Another reason trust feels hard is because people confuse trust with certainty. They think, if I trust, I must know the outcome. But trust is not knowing the outcome. Trust is being willing to move forward without knowing everything. Trust is accepting that you cannot control all timing, all people, all events, or all results. That can feel scary at first because the mind wants clear answers. The mind wants to know, when will it happen? How will it happen? Who will be there? What will I lose? The mind wants guarantees. But life rarely gives guarantees. Life gives invitations. Life gives signs. Life gives lessons. Life gives moments that lead to other moments. When you demand certainty, you often miss the gifts that come through change. Trust is learning to live without needing life to promise you every detail in advance. Trust can also feel hard because of pride. Not pride in a loud way, but pride in a tired way. The kind of pride that says, if I don't do everything myself, it won't get done. Or if I'm not in control, I'm weak. Or if I relax, I'll fall behind. Many people have been trained to believe that struggle equals progress. They think if they stop pushing, they will lose everything. They think peace is laziness. They think surrender is failure. But surrender is not failure. Surrender is not giving up on your dreams. Surrender is giving up on fear as your driver. It is releasing the belief that your worth depends on forcing outcomes. It is letting life breathe again. And that can feel unfamiliar because many people have lived so long in survival mode that calm feels strange. Even when calm is what they want most, it can feel unsafe at first, simply because it is new. There is also a deeper spiritual reason trust feels hard. Trust asks you to believe that life has meaning even when you cannot see it. Trust asks you to believe that delays can protect you, that detours can teach you, and that endings can open doors. Trust asks you to stop reading every hard moment as a sign you are failing. It asks you to see hard moments as part of a larger journey. That shift does not happen overnight. It is a practice. Some days trust will feel easy. Other days your mind will fight it, and that is okay. Trust is not something you do perfectly. Trust is something you return to again and again. When you notice yourself gripping, it does not mean you are broken. It means you are human. When you notice yourself worrying, it does not mean you are weak. It means you care. The goal is not to shame yourself for fear. The goal is to gently guide yourself back to trust. A simple way to understand this is to notice what fear sounds like. Fear usually sounds urgent. It says, fix it now. It says, you're running out of time. It says, something bad is coming. It says, you have to control this or you'll lose everything. Fear is loud, fast, and demanding. Trust sounds different. Trust is quiet and steady. Trust says, take one step. Trust says, breathe. Trust says, you don't need to solve the whole future today. Trust says, you are being guided even if you cannot see it yet. Trust does not rush you. Trust does not threaten you. Trust invites you. If trust feels hard, it is often because you have been listening to fear for a long time. And fear has been pretending to be protection. But protection is not the same as peace. Protection without peace turns into a prison. Trust is the key that opens the door. Trust is powerful because it changes you first, and then your life begins to change. It shifts your energy. It shifts your choices. It shifts the way you respond to problems, and that shift creates a different path, a calmer path, a clearer path, a path where you can actually receive what you have been asking for. When you trust, your body relaxes. That is not just a nice idea. It is real. When you trust, you breathe deeper. Your shoulders soften. Your chest feels less tight. Your mind slows down. And when your body relaxes, you can think better. You can hear your inner guidance more clearly. You can make decisions from calm instead of panic. This is one of the most hidden truths about spirituality. The state you live in shapes what you notice and what you allow into your life. When you live in fear, you see threats everywhere. You expect problems. You prepare for disappointment. Even good things can feel unsafe because you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Fear makes you reactive. It makes you rush. It makes you cling. But trust makes you receptive. It makes you open. It makes you patient in a peaceful way. It helps you act without forcing. It helps you show up without needing immediate results. And that is where real power lives. Trust also changes the way you handle timing. When you don't trust, every delay feels like rejection. Every not yet feels like failure. Every closed door feels like proof that you are not meant to have what you want. And that belief creates more pain than the delay itself. It creates panic. It creates hopelessness. It creates the urge to chase, beg, or force. But when you trust, delays become easier to carry. You still may not like them. You still may wish things were faster, but you don't collapse inside. You don't treat the delay as a verdict on your worth. You treat it as part of the journey. You tell yourself, I may not understand this yet, but I trust there is a reason. I trust I am being shaped for something. That mindset changes everything because it keeps your heart open, and an open heart stays connected to hope, to guidance, and to creative solutions. A closed heart can only repeat the same fear. An open heart can find new possibilities. Trust also changes what you attract because it changes how you show up. When you are calm, you speak differently. You listen better. You respond with patience. You stop pushing people away with tension. You stop making choices from desperation. You stop saying yes to things that drain you just because you're afraid nothing else will come. When you trust, you become more honest. You become more clear about what you will accept and what you won't. You stop trying to control people's reactions. You stop trying to force love. You stop trying to prove your worth. You start living from a deeper place that says, what is meant for me will stay. What is not meant for me can go. That is trust in action. And here is another hidden part. Trust helps you stop fighting the present moment. So many people suffer not only because of what is happening, but because they are arguing with what is happening. They keep saying, this shouldn't be happening. They keep replaying the past. They keep trying to rewrite the moment. They keep resisting what is. Trust does not mean you love everything that happens. Trust means you stop wasting your energy fighting reality. You accept the moment as it is, and then you move forward wisely. Acceptance is not weakness. Acceptance is alignment. It is the point where you stop bleeding energy and start gathering strength. When you trust, you also stop trying to carry everything alone. You stop acting like you must have all the answers right now. You stop punishing yourself for not knowing the future. You begin to rest in a simple truth. You are allowed to be guided. You are allowed to take things one step at a time. You are allowed to be human. Trust creates space, and space is where life can work. Space is where new ideas come. Space is where calm returns. Space is where healing begins. Space is where the right timing can meet you. Without space, everything feels crowded. Your thoughts crowd your heart. Your worries crowd your sleep. Your plans crowd your peace. Your need to control crowds out the quiet voice inside you that knows what to do next. Trust opens that space again. And the most important part is this. Trust does not ask you to stop wanting good things. Trust asks you to stop strangling your desires with fear. It asks you to stop checking the clock every minute. It asks you to stop asking, is it here yet? With panic in your chest. Trust says, hold your desire gently. Keep moving forward. Stay open. Let life bring it to you in the right way. When you live like that, you stop chasing life, and life begins to meet you. Not because you became passive, but because you became aligned. You became calmer. You became clearer. You became less desperate. You became more ready to receive. A simple practice can help you feel this in real time. The next time you feel that tight urge to control, when your mind starts spinning, when your chest feels heavy, when you feel the need to force an answer, pause for a moment. Breathe in slowly, breathe out slowly, then say quietly, I choose trust. Not as a wish, but as a decision. I choose trust. I take the next right step, and I release the rest. This is how trust becomes real. It is not a big speech. It is a small return. Again and again. Each time you return, you break the old pattern a little more. Each time you return, you teach your body that peace is safe. Each time you return, you train your mind to stop treating uncertainty like danger. Trust is not a one-time moment. Trust is a relationship with life. It is learning to walk with life instead of dragging it. It is learning to breathe while you wait. It is learning to stay open while things unfold. It is learning to believe that the universe can work through you, not against you. And once you begin to feel this, you start to understand why this word is hidden power. Because it is not loud, it is not flashy, it does not demand attention. It simply changes you from the inside, and then your world starts to respond to that change. Trust is like opening your hands. Control is like clenching your fists. When your fists are tight, you can't hold anything gently. You can't receive, you can't rest, you can't feel the softness of life because everything becomes a struggle. But when you open your hands, something changes right away. Your body relaxes, your breath slows down, your mind stops shouting, and in that open space, life can finally reach you. Think about how you hold something fragile. You don't squeeze it, you don't crush it, you hold it with care. Your life is fragile in the same way, not because it is weak, but because it needs kindness. Your heart needs kindness. Your dreams need kindness. Your healing needs kindness. When you try to control every detail, you often treat your life like a problem that must be solved right now. You treat your future like a deadline. You treat your emotions like a mess you need to clean up fast. And then you wonder why you feel tired all the time. Now imagine holding sand in your hand. If you squeeze it, the sand slips through your fingers. The tighter you grip, the faster it falls. But if you relax your hand and hold it gently, more of it stays. That is what trust is like. Trust is the gentle hold. Control is the squeeze. And this is why forcing doesn't work. Forcing creates pressure, and pressure makes things slip away. Trust creates space, and space allows things to stay. Trust also feels like standing on solid ground instead of trying to build a bridge while you're already crossing it. Many people feel fear because they think they must know the whole plan before they take the first step. But trust doesn't ask you to know everything. Trust only asks you to take one step at a time. It says you don't need the whole map, you only need enough light for the next part. When you live like that, you stop drowning in the future. Trust is also like a door. A locked door is the mind that says, I can't relax until I know what will happen. An open door is the heart that says, I can breathe even before I know what will happen. Behind an open door, life can bring new people, new chances, and new answers. Behind a locked door, nothing can enter. Not because life is cruel, but because fear is blocking the way. This is the hidden gift of trust. It turns your life into an open space. Not empty, not lacking, but open. Open enough for grace. Open enough for healing, open enough for the right timing to meet you, open enough for the things you cannot force to finally arrive. If you want one simple line to keep in your mind, let it be this: open hands, open heart. A tight grip may feel like safety, but it often creates stress. Open hands may feel scary at first, but they create peace. And peace is not small. Peace is power. Peace is clarity. Peace is the place where you can hear what life is trying to tell you. Trust is not just an idea. It becomes real when you bring it into your body, because fear lives in the body. Worry lives in the body. Control lives in the body. You can feel it in your chest, your shoulders, your stomach, your jaw, and that's why a simple practice can change everything in a few minutes. Not because it fixes your whole life instantly, but because it shifts your state. And once your state shifts, your choices shift too. Take a slow breath in, not a rushed breath, a slow, honest breath. Hold it for a moment, then let it out gently. As you breathe out, imagine releasing pressure you didn't even notice you were carrying. Take one more breath in, and as you breathe out, soften your face, soften your shoulders. If your body feels tense, don't fight it. Just notice it and let your breath create a little space. Now place your hand over your heart. Feel the warmth of your hand. Feel the steadiness of your heartbeat. This is important because trust is not only in the mind. Trust is in the heart. Trust is in the nervous system. Trust is in the way you hold yourself when life feels uncertain. Now say these words quietly, like you are speaking to the deepest part of you. I choose trust. Say it again. I choose trust. Let the words land. Let them be real. Not perfect, just real. Now add this. I don't need to force. And then I am allowed to receive. Take another slow breath and whisper this. Life can guide me. You don't need to shout it. You don't need to prove it. Just whisper it and let your body hear it. Now notice what happens inside you. Maybe you feel a tiny bit more calm. Maybe your chest feels a little less tight. Maybe your thoughts slow down for a moment. That small shift is the beginning. Trust doesn't always come as a big wave. Sometimes it comes as a small breath of relief. Sometimes it comes as one quiet moment where you stop arguing with life. If your mind starts to protest, that's normal. The mind will say, but what if it doesn't work out? The practice is not to argue back. The practice is to return to the heart, return to the breath, return to the words, I choose trust, over and over gently. Now add one more line, simple and strong. What is meant for me will not miss me. Say it slowly. What is meant for me will not miss me. This line is not about being lazy. It's about releasing panic. It's about remembering that you don't have to chase everything with fear. You can move forward with calm. Take one last breath in, and as you breathe out, imagine opening your hands. Just imagine it. Open hands, open heart, then whisper, I relax, and let that be enough for this moment. This practice is small, but it is powerful because it breaks the habit of rushing. It breaks the habit of tight control. It reminds your system that peace is possible right now, even if your life is still changing, even if answers are still coming. Trust becomes real when you use it in ordinary moments, not only when you are calm, but especially when you are not. The real test of trust is when you want to hurry, when you want to force, when you want to control someone's response, when you want to know the outcome right now. That is when trust matters most, because that is when fear tries to take the wheel. Use trust when you are waiting, waiting for a message, waiting for a result, waiting for a change, waiting for clarity. Waiting can make the mind spin. Waiting can make you feel powerless. But trust turns waiting into a peaceful space instead of a stressful one. Instead of thinking, why is this taking so long? You can say, something is unfolding. I am still moving forward, even if I cannot see it yet. Trust helps you wait without suffering. Use trust when you feel rejected. When something doesn't work out, the mind may say, "This means I'm not good enough." But trust says, "This is not the end of my story." Trust says, "A closed door can protect me." Trust says, "If it is not meant for me, I do not need to force it." This does not erase pain, but it stops pain from turning into hopelessness. Use trust in relationships, not as an excuse to accept harm, but as a way to stop chasing what doesn't choose you back. Trust means you stop begging for love. Trust means you stop shrinking to keep someone. Trust means you stop trying to control another person's feelings. You can still care deeply, but you let life reveal the truth. You let actions speak. You let what is real stay and what is not real fall away. Use trust when you are making decisions. Many people freeze because they think there is only one perfect choice. They worry they will ruin everything if they choose wrong. But trust says, "I can choose the best I can with what I know right now." Trust says, "If I need to adjust, I can adjust." Trust removes the fear that every choice is final. It reminds you that life is a path, not a trap. Use trust when you feel behind. When you compare yourself to others, the mind creates panic. It says, "I should be further." It says, "I missed my chance." Trust says, "My timing is my timing." Trust says, "I am not late." Trust says, "I am growing at the right pace for my life." This is not an excuse to stop trying. It is a release from shame, and when shame lifts, your energy returns. Use trust when your mind wants proof. The mind says, "Show me the plan." Trust says, "I will take the next step." The mind says, "Guarantee me the outcome." Trust says, "I will keep my heart open." The mind says, "I need certainty." Trust says, "I can breathe without certainty." This is how trust becomes a new way of living. A simple daily habit can make trust stronger. Before you start your day, take 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Breathe slowly. Put your hand on your heart. Then say, "I choose trust today." And then, "I will do what I can and release what I can't control." These are not fancy words, but they are real, and real words change real lives. Trust also helps you notice signs. Not signs in a dramatic way, but in a quiet way. When you are calm, you notice what feels right and what feels wrong. You notice when something drains you. You notice when something gives you peace. You notice when your body tightens around a choice and when it relaxes. Trust is not only spiritual, it is also practical. It helps you listen to yourself. And when fear returns, because it will sometimes, don't panic. Don't judge yourself. Just return to the word. Trust. Return to the breath. Return to the heart. Return to open hands. That is the practice. That is the path. Trust is not a mood. Trust is a home you return to. It is where you rest when life is loud. It is where you breathe when the future feels unclear. It is where you remember that you are not meant to carry the whole world on your shoulders. There is a version of you that already knows how to trust. Not because everything has always been easy, but because you have survived days you thought you wouldn't survive. You have made it through changes you didn't plan. You have handled losses you didn't think you could handle. You have found your way again and again. That is proof that life has carried you before. And if life has carried you before, it can carry you now. Trust does not mean you will never feel fear. Trust means fear does not get to lead your life. Trust means you can feel fear and still choose peace. Trust means you can feel uncertainty and still take the next step. Trust means you can be human and still be guided. When you live with trust, you stop treating life like a battle you must win. You stop waking up every day feeling like you have to prove something. You stop trying to control every outcome to feel safe, and you start living from a softer strength, the strength that says, I am supported, the strength that says, I will be okay, the strength that says, I don't need to force what is meant for me. Let this be simple. Let this be gentle. You don't have to change everything overnight. You don't have to become perfectly calm. You don't have to erase every worry. You only need to practice returning to trust, one breath at a time, one moment at a time. If you want a final phrase to carry with you, let it be this: I choose trust and I release the rest. Say it when you feel pressure. Say it when you feel impatient. Say it when you feel fear rising. Say it when you feel the urge to control. Let it guide you back to your heart. Because the hidden power of this one word is not that it gives you control. It gives you peace. And peace is where your wisdom lives. Peace is where your best choices come from. Peace is where you can feel what is real. Peace is where life can reach you. Trust is the doorway to that peace. Trust is the word nobody talks about enough because it is quiet. It is not dramatic. It doesn't demand attention, but it changes how life feels from the inside out. It turns tension into space. It turns rushing into patience. It turns fear into a softer kind of courage. And that is why it is so powerful. When you choose trust, you stop trying to control what is not yours to control. You stop fighting the present moment. You stop squeezing your future with fear. You start living with open hands. You start moving with life instead of against it. You still take action, but your action comes from calm, not panic. You still care, but you no longer carry everything alone. And this is where spiritual life becomes real, not in perfect words, not in forced positivity, not in pretending you never struggle. Spiritual life becomes real when you can breathe in the middle of uncertainty and say, I choose trust. When you can feel the urge to force and still open your hands. When you can wait without breaking. When you can allow life to unfold without losing yourself in worry. Trust is not something you find once. It is something you return to again and again. And each return makes you stronger. Each return makes you calmer. Each return makes you more open to the good that is already on its way. So keep it simple, keep it close, keep it gentle. When you don't know what to do, trust. When you feel behind, trust. When you feel scared, trust. When you feel impatient, trust. When you feel the need to control, trust. Because life does not ask you to force every door open. Life asks you to be ready when the right door opens. And trust is what makes you ready.